or is it E or an I? I can't even remember that in Turkish. But then K-I-S with a thingy underneath it is Chickish, C-H-I-K, like somebody's fried chickish. Wasn't even planning to come this way, but when I crossed the road, I saw a line of shops going off in this direction that looked quite interesting. And if it's further from the centre, it might be cheaper as well, so more value for money. I'm always a fan of that. And the other thing is I like seeing how people actually live, and that's often also not the best to look in the centre itself. Tatouage terminal. I see. I didn't think that there was that much way of tattooaging going on in Muslim countries, but maybe it's wrong to even define Uzbekistan really is a Muslim country. A Muslima just walked by in full dress regalia. She's probably one as well with a headscarf on, but that doesn't make it a Muslim country in that sense. Certainly the church was out in force, the Orthodox Church for the Russians. I think that there's probably a degree of tolerance as long as the church doesn't involve itself in political activities, or if it does, then only ones which are complementary to the status quo. Then I expect there's probably quite a bit of religious tolerance. I'm not going to be too dogmatic about that, because you never know what you might discover if you read, but certainly I didn't hear of anything. I've heard of worse in other Central Asian countries, put it that way. So basically, on the street you're hearing their rather guttural version of Turkic, Uzbekja, but you're seeing a kind of mix of Russian, English and Uzbekja, pretty much nothing else but those three, on the placards and on the posters and what have you. You know, people from here are going to end up functionally trilingual growing up in the way that it is now. Dilly dilly trally valley. That's Russian. Bum bum. Dilly dilly trally valley. What's that? And Toshkent, isn't it? The children's song. So obviously there's a fun park there. You can see something that looks like Tuli. The shops have now stopped, which makes it interesting for me to know whether I'm necessarily in the right place. If I want to get fed, maybe I should be going the opposite way, I don't know, but I just don't want to come the way I came. If I do go back, then it will be back along back streets maybe. They gave me a map, the concierge gave me a map. This is Akhborot Technologia Lare or Toshkent. Everything that you expect an A in ends up with an O. And everything that you wanted to have an U in ends up with an O. Everything ends up with an O in it. They seem to like O. So Uzbekistan is actually Uzbekistan, which is a wizard place, and Tashkent is actually Toshkent. So it's like somebody came along and said, I want more O's please, can you deliver? And somebody said, yep, sure. Head of language said, yep, we'll change a few of these round so they become O's. We can do that by Monday. It'll take a while printing up all of the new business cards and addresses and printing the street signs, but we can do it. Perhaps it might take to the middle of next week. And they did it. Now, if anybody's read Rates of Exchange by Malcolm Bradbury, has a very similar amuse-bouche, mental amuse-bouche thing. Oh dear. A bit of a tiff just happened as I walked by. Did you hear that in the background? Perhaps not because of the music, but that rather, I thought, quite elegant looking couple started to raise their voices at each other. Uzbeks are like the Chinese in many ways. Sometimes some of them look like Chinese, of course. I went on about Mexican looking earlier. They're much bigger. They're big and burly because of the mix of bloods that they have. Ah, here we go. This was mentioned that there's a lot of bats in Toshkent, and there's one there. You see that? Flying. Hope I got it. So hopefully none of them are bloodsuckers or rabies carriers or anything, but sure enough, just as it said in the in-flight magazine, that a lot of the mammals, there's a number of species of bats and rodents and what they call predators in the in-flight magazine, but by which I presume they mean order Carnivora, wherein I suppose you can put Mustelidae and Felidae and Canidae amongst other things. They probably have a number of different species of wild cats. They have snow leopards in the wilder parts, as they said, and obviously they got jackals, and they presumably have wolves too. It's a little known fact that the country which has more wolves than anywhere else is actually Kazakhstan, but southern wolves are small. So a wolf in Kazakhstan is not much bigger than a jackal anyway, and not that much more impressive. Whereas the further north you go, the bigger those wolves get. So at the north of Russia you've got the biggest and burliest wolves with the thickest pelts as well for the winter, but not necessarily quite so many because, well, I don't know why. It's a big country, it should have more than Kazakhstan, but that's what they say anyway. Read it somewhere, can't even remember where. So there's the thing. So I'm here for 3 days, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how much I'll manage. I did at the moment I'm actually uploading the Romanian series. It was only 24 hours in Romania and I got to 18 small but much more snippet sized, and that's the way I'm probably going to go forward. Clips and it actually makes it easier for uploading them, for making them, uploading them and what have you, when they're not quite so huge. Although in a sense you get through more footage at once, but nobody's going to watch it apparently. That's what I'm told, because people, they watch the beginning, they say, oh, this is long, I won't see the whole thing. Whereas if you splice it down, then the idea is at least somebody's going to watch a bit of everything. So rather than some parts being out there which nobody watches. I know there are some of you that are really loyal viewers and watch pretty much everything, and I do appreciate it, and your comments as well on them. I won't single anybody in particular out maybe, so as not to leave out those that I should include by accident and make people feel bad, but I appreciate everyone, I can assure you. So at this point I'm not sure that that's a great way to be going, because it looks like it's going to go in an unpredicted way. So I shall check the map and perhaps see you back here in a short while.